Picture this list: a double garage off the back lane, a finished basement with big windows, real ones, not those little slits up near the ceiling. A legal suite downstairs Linda could rent out or keep for family. A new kitchen, new bathroom, fresh flooring throughout the main floor. A fence on her corner lot so people stop driving on the corner across her lawn. A deck she can actually sit on in July. Nothing extravagant, just a tired older bungalow finally turned into the place that she wants to live in. Then the quote comes back. Legal basement suite, 80 to 100K. Main floor, 70 to 80K. Double garage, 35K. Fence, 13K. Patio, around 10K. A couple of trees on the corner that have to come down, about $1,200 each. Add it all up and you're sitting at around 240K. Take that 240K, add it to what the house is already worth, and you land on almost exactly on the price of a comparable home 3 blocks over. One somebody already renovated that you could move into next month. That's not a horror story I invented. It's a real conversation I had at a kitchen table recently with real Calgary numbers. And almost every one of them gets it backwards because they're answering the wrong question. By the end of this video, you'll know the right one and which side of it your own house lands on. What's up guys, I'm Felix Chan and I'm born and raised right here in Calgary, realtor and mortgage broker with the LiveInnerCity real estate team. I've helped hundreds of families sit on exactly this fence, sink the money into the house, or sell and buy something already renovated. So here's why I'm making this video. Almost every renovate or move breakdown online runs on American renovation show math. California return on investment percentages, a $47,000 average reno, that means nothing here. And I've got a name for what's underneath it, the after photo fantasy, the gorgeous finished number in your head that the brochure sells you with none of the noise, overruns, or real Calgary prices attached. That's what we're up against the whole way through. So I'm going to give you the actual ballpark I quote in the city and the simple framework I walk people through, the same one I used at this table. And that reframe is what this whole video turns on. Renovate or move was never about whether you love your kitchen. It's a math question. So let me show you how I put this math in front of people. So here's what I'm going to do. Break down what a full renovation actually costs in Calgary, line by line, show you the one piece of math that decides this for most people, and give you the 2 questions and the 3 criteria I make every homeowner answer before they spend $1. But before a single line item, you need the one idea this whole video hangs on. Miss it, and every number that follows just looks like a big scary pile instead of a decision. Here's the thesis up front. When the renovation bill plus what your house is worth today starts to approach the price of a home that's already done, the math makes that decision. Not your mood, not the after photo. Let me show you how fast that happens here. If you want the honest ground level version of Calgary real estate, please hit the like and subscribe. We put on new videos every week and we never miss or sugarcoat what's happening in the city. The bigger the decision, the more an honest number is worth. And these don't get much bigger. So let's start where every renovation starts, the cost. This is the piece almost everybody underestimates. The number in your head and the number on the quote aren't the same area code. Watch what just renovating actually adds up to. The $240,000 reno reality. Picture Linda, not her real name of course. She owns an older bungalow on a big corner lot in one of Calgary's South communities, Haysboro. Paid off, good bones, but original everything. She's standing in that dated kitchen on a Sunday, coffee getting cold, picturing it finished. A few upgrades to finally make the place hers. That's where the underestimate lives. It always feels smaller than it is. So we priced it. Start in the basement, where the real money hides. A legal secondary suite. Done properly, soundproofed, permitted. Starts at around $80,000. That's the floor, not the ceiling. Now, can you get it done cheaper? Sure, but you get what you pay for. And in a house like hers, it climbs because of what's already down there. The furnace and water tank sits in the middle of the room instead of tucked by the stairs. The windows are those tiny slits, and a legal basement suite needs proper egress windows you can climb out of in case of a fire. Moving a furnace, relocating a drain so the basement kitchen can exist, that's drilling through the concrete foundation, trenching, laying down pipe, repouring concrete on top. So that $80,000 basement is realistically $80,000 to maybe $100,000 once the house fights back. Now, the upstairs, the new kitchen, new bathroom, flooring, baseboards throughout the main floor. Call it 70 to 80K, depending on finishes. Then, the things that never make the highlight reel. A double detached garage off the lane, 30 to 35K. A patio she can use. Concrete pavers, roughly 20 by 20. About $10,000 and almost double that for a raised deck with stairs and railings. A fence to close off that exposed corner, about 13K. And the evergreens on the property line that have to come down, around $1,200 a tree. Now, put it all on one page. Basement, 100K. Main floor, 80K. Garage, 35K. Fence, 13K. Patio, 12K. You're at around $240,000. The careful number. The one that assumes nothing goes sideways, which on a 50-year-old house is not how it goes. You open a wall, you could find a leak. You move one thing, it forces 3 more. This is part of the where did the budget go line item. So here's what you do with that number. The price of a renovation isn't set by what you want. It's set by what's already inside the walls. Always price the house you have, not the brochure. And add a real contingency on top of the quote, up to 25% on a older, full home rental like this. Not because the contractor is dishonest, but because that's how old houses behave. So that's the money. And the money is the easy question. There are 2 questions I make every homeowner answer before they even touch a hammer or call a contractor. And it's the second one, the one that has nothing to do with dollars, that actually breaks people. The 2 questions, budget and energy. Now, before a single design decision, these 2 questions decide whether the renovation is even possible for you, not just affordable on paper. Question 1, do you have the budget to make this house everything you want it to be? Not, can you start? Can you finish? Savings, a line of credit, refinancing, pulling out equity, wherever it comes from, is the full 240K plus actually there with room for the overruns. A half-funded renovation is worse than none. You end up in a permanent construction site, the most expensive unfinished house on the block. So, fund it to the finish or don't start. But question 2 is the one most people skip, and it's the one I care about more. Do you have the energy, the actual life capacity to live through it? This is where Linda comes back in. A full renovation on that house is not a weekend. Anyone who's done one will tell you, living through it is brutal. And on a house that needs this much, you're closer to a year-long project than a summer one. So phase it out. Basement first. Renovate that into a legal suite while you live upstairs and handle the construction noise. Once the basement is complete, you move down there and the contractors take over the main floor. Sounds simple on paper, now picture it. Constant noise during the day, constant traffic every single day. A great option is to live out of a suitcase and renting an Airbnb. But even that doesn't skirt your responsibilities. A decision demanded of you every single day. A contractor you have to manage. And a finish line that might keep sliding. For someone with long hours, a stressful job, and doesn't want to be a project manager, that's not a renovation. That's a second job she didn't apply for. So be brutally truthful about your own life before you fall in love with the after photo. If the answer to either question is shaky, you've already learned something most people pay $240,000 to find out. Now, this is for the homeowner telling themselves renovating is automatically that responsible choice because at least the money stays in the house. Sometimes it does, but if you can't fund it to the finish or can't survive living in it, the responsible choice just changed. And before you take out that $240K out of the bank as your number, there's one more thing I told our family. The piece that wrecks more renovation budgets than anything else on this list. Because the quote on a 50-year-old house only moves in one direction. The $240K is a floor, not a quote. Here's what most people often get backwards. They treat a renovation quote like a fixed price tag that they can plan around it. On an old house, it's an opening bid. Everything we priced assumes the house cooperates, and a 50-year-old bungalow doesn't always. The furnace is planted in the middle of the basement, not an ideal location. The drainage has to be relocated through the foundation. There's a great issue at the back of the lot, and the moment somebody opens a wall, you find the leak nobody knew was there. Treat it as a starting bid, not a final price. The brochure number and the finished number are two different numbers, and the gap between them is the after photo fantasy priced. And here's the trap that widens it. The fantasy of my uncle can do my garage for half of that. Everybody's got that buddy who'll do it cheap. Don't decide on that number. Before you commit $1, get one real quote from one general contractor who does dependable work, not the cheapest guy who'll disappear halfway through. Decide on a real number, not a hopeful one. Okay, a $240,000 renovation and 2 honest questions. Now, the single line of math that at that kitchen table ended the renovation question in about 30 seconds. This is where the after photo fantasy finally meets a calculator, and the calculator wins. It's a line almost nobody runs before they start designing. Right back to buying one already done. Here's the move that ends the back and forth, and it isn't about taste, it's arithmetic. This decision feels impossible because you're weighing a house you have feelings about against a number you've never added up. So let's add it up. Start with what the house is worth as is. And in Linda's Haysboro community, even a tired original bungalow around 1,000 square feet will sell for about $540,000. That's the floor. Now for the renovation. The careful number was $240K, but once you add the common renovation changes like structural changes for an open floor plan, meeting current building and safety codes, fixing decades-old DIY fixes, outdated electrical panel, leaks, or replacing the plumbing, it could round towards $300,000. Let's be conservative. So $540K for the house plus $300K and you're at $840K. And what does an already renovated home sell for in that exact pocket? In the 800s. This one, fully decked out, sold for $900,000. But there are others that sold at $825 and $860K. Not as nice, but fully renovated. So put the two side by side. Renovate your own house, about $840K all in, and hope it comes out the way the render promised, or buy the decked out one for $900K and move into it this month. Done, finished, somebody else ate the dust and the overruns. Similar money, either way. One way, a year of noise and dust. The other, keys this month. As your dad put it, you're right back to buying one already done. That's the whole decision. So here's what you do with it. When your house plus the renovation lands on top of the price of a finished home, buying almost always wins. You're paying the same money for a year of your life back. Now, that $540K floor is doing a lot of work in that math. So before you renovate anything, you need the two numbers that bracket your street because they decide whether a renovation can ever pay you back. The ceiling, don't over improve. This is the trap that wrecks new home flippers and first time renovators. You can do everything right. Beautiful finishes, permits, the works, and still lose money because every neighborhood has a hard limit you can't renovate past. This is the principle of over improvement or over capitalizing. You wouldn't renovate to a custom level in the east of Calgary, just like you wouldn't renovate to a basic standard in Aspen. For most communities, standard finishing, neutral, bright, modern is the sweet spot. There's a floor and a ceiling, a price the worst house won't fall below, and one the best house can't break above, almost regardless of what's behind the front door. Now, this is a general concept I want you to grasp. Of course, there's always exceptions, such as, community going through gentrification. So stick with me here. Here's the floor. Even an untouched bungalow in South community like Haysboro, original everything, the sale price doesn't typically drop below $540K. That's the as-is floor. The ceiling, what a beautifully finished home tops out at, is around $900K. The gap between them is the only room you actually have to renovate into. So here's the trap. The most expensive one in this video. Spend $300K renovating a $540,000 home and you're all in at $840K on a street where the best finished home tops out at $900K. You're close to the ceiling and you've absorbed every dollar of dust, noise, and risk to get there. The move, and I'd staple this to the fridge, is to consult a realtor before you consult an architect. By the way, I know of a great real estate team in Calgary, so link is in the description below. So your realtor will find out the top sale in your community that sold recently. That's your renovation ceiling. Land comfortably under it, renovate with confidence. Blow past it, and it might take you longer to sell when the day comes. There's one renovation that breaks this rule, one that can pay you back every single month instead of only at resale. And it's sitting right at the top of Linda's wish list, which is exactly why I look at it before anything cosmetic. The suite that pays you back. This one is different. Most renovations only pay you back the day you sell, if at all, depending on what the market is doing when you list. This one pays you on the first day of every month. So remember the legal basement suite from Linda's list, the one she'd rent out or keep for family? That's not just another $100,000 line item hoping for cents on the dollar at resale. A legal secondary suite is a mortgage helper, a tenant paying part of the house with you every month, not 10 years later when you sell. So if she stays and renovates, this is the line item I'd look at first, before the cosmetic stuff. Does the lot under current city zoning support a legal suite? And does that rent offset against the carrying cost? That's a real numbers conversation for her specific address. But the principle is rock solid. Of everything on that 240K list, the suite is the one that can turn from a cost into an income stream. And if she's thinking about long-term, it can even be more than that. It turns the property into a multi-income stream asset. Picture this. She renovates the basement suite and rents it out. And if she's thinking really long-term, there's another layer, a carriage house over the garage. It would add another $300 to $350K to the project, but it creates a second income stream. And if she decided to completely move, she would have the basement, the main floor, and the carriage house all working for her month after month. That's not just a renovation, that's a small scale real estate portfolio. And this scales. It's the same logic behind Calgary's whole inner city infill story. In the inner city, the land does most of the work on value. So a tired structure on a good lot is often worth more torn down and rebuilt than renovated. For a paid off bungalow on a big south side lot, you don't need the wrecking ball. Just whether a legal suite changes the monthly math. Same principle, different play. A renovated basement suite could rent for $1,400 a month, a payment equivalent to a $230,000 mortgage. One way to look at it, you're reducing your mortgage by $230,000. Or if she refinanced and took out $100,000 in equity to pay for the rentals, her payment would be $600, but she's generating $1,400. Pocketing $800 a month. Either way, she's reducing her monthly expenses by $1,400. No matter how you see it, she's winning. Who's this for? This is for the homeowner whose real problem is the monthly carrying cost, not the countertops. If what's keeping you up is the mortgage math, the suite conversation matters more than the kitchen by a lot. Up to here, everything has a price tag. The suite, the garage, the ceiling, the gap. But there's a whole category of problem no renovation budget can touch and no after photo can hide. If you're facing one of these, the decision is already made. You just might have not admitted it yet. What a renovation can't fix. Here's why this gut check cuts through the agony faster than any spreadsheet. It sorts your problem into what money solves and what it never will. Ask one honest question. Is what I don't like about this house inside the walls or outside of them. That single line sorts almost every renovate or move decision, and most people never stop to ask it. The ugly kitchen, the closed off layout, the dated bathroom, that's inside the walls. Money fixes that. But look on what's on her property that money can't fix. The train tracks and noise at the end of the street. The neighbors who aren't going anywhere. You can spend the full $240K and the train noise is still gonna be there. And the neighbors are still the neighbors. And there's a human version of outside of the walls too, Linda's own life. The comfort of staying put, the familiarity of her routine, those aren't bad reasons to stay, but they're not renovation problems. They're life decisions, and no amount of money spent on countertops or windows changes them. A single person, long hours, no appetite to project manage a year-long build. That's not structural, but it's every bit as real, and no renovation fixes it. So audit your own house. Sort what bugs you into inside the walls or outside the walls. Mostly inside, layout, finishes, flow. Renovating can solve it. Mostly outside, the lots, the location, the train, your bandwidth, no renovation fixes it, and you already have your answer. So say the audit points you towards buying. Now, you've got a new problem. The whole south side of the city to choose from. Here's how I help people narrow it in the right order so they don't spin their wheels for 6 months chasing the wrong thing first. The 3 criteria in priority order. The order matters more than the list. Most people want the following 3 maxed out. Impossible. The whole game is deciding which one leads. When you're buying, 3 things matter. Number 1, the house, the layout and the finishings. Number 2, the location, the community, the street, the green space. And number 3, the budget. You can't max all 3. So you decide which one leads. That's what gives the search direction. So let's just say location is number 1. We lock in the map first. Similar south communities like Acadia, Southwood, and if she'll cross west of 14th Street, Oak Ridge, Cedar Brae, and Braeside. We rule out the pockets that don't fit the budget. Then, inside the map, the next question, house or budget, tells us bungalow or 2-story, what finishes, and what to walk past. And there's a layer underneath all 3. Is this house a 5-year plan, or a 15-year plan, or a forever home? If it's forever, you plan for the version of yourself that's 20 years older. Mobility, stairs, how much house you want to maintain when you're not 50 anymore. So before you tour a single listing, rank your 3. Pick your time horizon and a whole city becomes a short, honest list. That's what makes buying feel calm instead of frantic. And here's the part that makes all of this easier right now than it would have been 18 months ago. The single biggest reason, I tell her there's no need to rush a single piece of it. The market just gave you room to breathe. Here's why the timing matters as much as the math. A year ago, this decision came with a gun to your head. Now, it doesn't. For 4 or 5 years, Calgary Real Estate was doing 200 kilometers an hour on the highway. Now, we're cruising at 110. Speed limit. That's not a crash. That's a new normal. And for somebody making a big move, it's the best gift the market's handed out in years. A balanced market where you don't have to buy and sell in the same panicked afternoon. Just look at the receipts. Brand new homes in the burbs, 2,200 square feet, never lived in. Builders have slashed prices by over $100,000. The renovated home near the hospital that would have sold in a day last spring sat 2 to 3 weeks. That means a buyer can take their time, make a comfortable offer, and not get laughed out of the room. So the action is the opposite of urgency. If the math says to buy, you do it carefully. Tour, compare, negotiate, instead of bidding against 6 other people on day 1. But should I buy now or wait for rates? Is its own rabbit hole. And so is the question almost every one of these homeowners asks me next. In a market like this, do you sell your current place first or buy the new one first? Get that order wrong and it costs you time, effort, and money. That's exactly where the next video goes. So back to Linda. After all the numbers, the 240K quote, the roughly 840K all in against a 900K finished home, the train that no renovation silences, the long hours, and the dust. What's the honest read? For someone on a paid off house that needs everything, the math and the energy audit both point in the same direction. Buying done is very likely the better life. But, and I mean this, it is her decision. The framework I just gave you works for anyone. Run your own numbers, audit your own property, answer the two questions honestly. Do you have the budget and energy? And then jump off the side you actually want. This starts with her long-term goals and a very important number, what her house is worth today. Everything else, the budget, the map, the suite, the timing, flows from it. So here's my one ask if you're standing on the same fence. Don't guess at your numbers from a renovation show. Reach out and book a renovate or move conversation with our team. You tell us what your house is, what's bugging you, and what you're after. And we'll help you see which side of the line the math puts you on. The honest version, no pressure, the link's in the description. And if you found this valuable, I would love your support if you took 2 seconds and hit the like button. And tell me in the comments, are you team renovate or team move? And if you've lived through a Calgary renovation, how far over budget did you actually go? I read them and I'll weigh in. Next, I'm answering the question she asked me right after this one. In a balanced market like today's, do you sell your house first or buy the next one first? Watch that one and you'll know exactly which order protects your money and how to dodge the trap that leaves people owning 2 homes at once or none. Get it wrong and it's an expensive mistake, and most people just guess. I'm Felix Chan, Calgary Realtor Mortgage Broker with the LiveInnerCity Real Estate Team, and the most expensive renovation is the one you start before you've run the number that says don't. See you in the next one.